Hello and thanks for joining me. I'm out for a ride today on my Harley Davidson and I'm having a brilliant day. Lovely weather, not too hot, but nice and bright. And so I think it's time for some philosophical musings. And what I was just thinking about is how I enjoy riding so many different types of bikes. I'm out today on my Harley Davidson. Yesterday I was out doing some trail riding and green laning on my little KTM. Earlier in the week I was out on my Norton Commando. I just love riding different types of bikes, and what I want to talk about therefore is how as a motorcyclist, if you're not careful, you can get pigeon-holed into just one certain niche, one type of motorcycling. And if you're not careful, you can start to identify yourself, you can start to self-identify with that particular niche in a way that I think can be self-limiting. And you know, if you're not careful and you really sort of go along with that identification, it can really restrict the joy and pleasure that you can get out of riding. So as usual, let's go for a little bit of a ride and explore these ideas. So today I want to talk about the fact that I'm a biker, but I refuse to be pigeonholed into any one particular niche of motorcycling activity or motorcycling culture. One of the things that I love about motorcycles and motorcycling is the huge diversity and range of different bikes and different motorcycling activities. I see motorcycling as being a very broad church, and people worship the god of speed in a diverse range of ways. And my problem is that I love many of them. Not all of them, but I love many of them. And I know that this can be detrimental to my YouTube channel because other channels attract subscribers by offering content in one specific niche, such as adventure touring or sports bikes or classic bikes or enduro or trails bike riding or on bike clubs and MCs and bike culture. But I'm interested in all of these different aspects of motorcycling, and you know, that's reflected in the range of bikes that I currently own. I have this Harley Davidson that I'm riding now, but I also ride an enduro bike and a trials bike. I also tour on a BMW, and I own classic bikes as well, as you'll know if you've watched other videos on this channel. I think I was born with motorcycling in my blood, and I have no idea why. I've no idea where this passion came from. Certainly not from my family. All I can remember is that from the earliest age I yearned for, I just ached, every muscle in my body ached to own and ride a motorcycle. So my point today is that so many riders identify with just one particular niche in a way that I think is very self-limiting. I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. So for example, you get the sports bike riders who scoff at Harley riders on their slow, overweight, outdated tractors, but in turn the Harley riders laugh at the sports bike riders in their Power Ranger suits aboard their plastic-clad crotch rockets. And you get adventure bike riders who look down on anyone riding a machine that isn't kitted out with knobbly tyres, a 30-litre fuel tank and a ride round the world set of aluminium luggage. And then, of course, there's the trials riders. Well, they're just weird, aren't they? I mean, they don't even have seats on their bikes, and they purposefully choose the most difficult route to get from A to B. Anyway, interestingly, the only area of biking I've never experienced this kind of prejudice is in classic bikes. If you ride a beautiful old classic bike, no matter what brand, you seem to get respect from everyone. Anyway, a little story to illustrate what I mean. I remember a while back, I was outside a friend's house. I'd gone to visit a friend, and I'd gone on my BMW, and I was tinkering with my BMW. I can't remember exactly what I was doing. But anyway, I was working on the BMW, and one of my friend's Harley riding colleagues came to call. So he pulled up on his Harley Davidson and pulled up alongside me, and he killed his engine, and he looked down at me and he said, "Oh, thought you were a Harley rider." And I said, "Well, I am." And then he turned his nose up and said, "Oh, I wouldn't be seen dead on anything other than a Harley," and marched into my friend's house. And I remember thinking, well, how limiting is that? It's perfectly possible to enjoy Harley Davidsons and enjoy other brands as well. Likewise, it's perfectly acceptable to enjoy riding a sports bike, but also have a cruiser in the garage as well. And that way you can enjoy many different genres of motorcycling. I know that many people do. I have many friends who ride a wide range of different bikes, and I'm certainly not alone in this. So, for example, my friend Alan, who you might have seen in some of my other videos, I know he rides a classic BSA, and he's got a DRZ 400 dirt bike, and he's got modern bikes as well, modern sports bikes as well. And many of my off-road riding friends are also very good road riders, and some of them enjoy track days on sports bikes, or some of them enjoy adventure touring on big BMWs or big KTMs. So I know that I look like a typical Harley rider with my long hair and my big beard and my usual attire, but in fact I probably spend more of my weekends riding my enduro bike or my trails bike than I do my Harley, and that confuses some people. They think I look like a Harley rider, therefore I should just be riding a Harley, and what right have I got to be riding an enduro bike? But I refuse to be limited in my motorcycling activities, and I'll ride any bike that I enjoy. So those were just some brief thoughts on self-identity as a motorcyclist. What are your thoughts on this? Do you cross different genres of motorcycling, or do you stick to just one? I'll be interested to hear from you what you think about what I've just said. So please let me know your comments in the comments box below, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy your ride.